I will never do this again in Disney World, and neither should you. We asked our readers and Instagram followers things that you should not do in Epcot, and things got heated. Here are the top 19 things you must avoid when planning your next day to Epcot. Let's get started. All right, and we're starting this list at the very front of the park with the park's icon, Spaceship Earth. Our first never do is to never ride Spaceship Earth right when you enter the park. Here at the front of the park, the very first thing you'll see when you walk in is Spaceship Earth, aka the giant golf ball. Here you can travel in time and explore the history of communication on a ride that takes you from the Stone Age to the computer age. Now at the beginning of the day, what many people don't realize that there is a ride in here, and it is the first thing that they see when they walk in the park. So a lot of the times people will walk right in and hop in line with the first thing that they see, and unfortunately that is Spaceship Earth. So a lot of the times in the mornings it will have a long wait time, but I promise you, if you wait until later in the day, it will get shorter. If you are here at Rope Drop, we highly recommend rope dropping Frozen Ever After. If you don't want to buy Genie Plus, use that precious rope drop time to stand in that line for Frozen Ever After, because that one does get quite a bit of long waits, and it's worth it for that one. But if you get here right at Rope Drop, you can avoid those wait times. Another good one to rope drop is Rumi's Ratatouille Adventure, especially if you're staying in some of those Epcot resorts where you can enter the back of World Showcase with that international gateway. Those are two great rope drop options. However, do not skip Spaceship Earth. I'm adding another one to the list. Never skip Spaceship Earth. Just don't do it first thing in the morning. And never forget to thank the Phoenicians. The next thing that you should never do in Epcot is skip Living with the Land. Listen, I have my reasons. Hear me out. Living with the Land is an attraction in the Land Pavilion here in Epcot where you will sail through the greenhouse of the Land Pavilion on a boat tour and feast your eyes on incredible food crops from around the world. This is a very relaxing ride, nothing super exciting happening. You are riding a boat, looking around at plants, but it's all about innovative technologies when it comes to growing food, ways that we can help better the planet, and just overall, it's a great ride, and it's very underappreciated. Now, if you love Living with the Land just as much as I do and the rest of the All Ears team, you do need to know that there is something called the Behind the Scenes tour that you can pay for. It's not super expensive, but you pay and you actually get a guided tour around Living with the Land, and you walk through the greenhouses. It is my dream to do this one day eventually. I'd love to do it for work, so, you know, if you want to see it, a whole separate video on it, let us know. I will happily make that video for you, you know. Overall, this is not a very exciting ride. It's probably not a fan favorite for kids, but as you get older, you realize how much more important a ride like this is for the better of the earth, and honestly, it just becomes more iconic as you get older. Plus, if you're going to Garden Grill later for a dining reservation, take kids on Living with the Land, show them Mickey's lettuce, and then when you get to the dining reservation, tell your kids, hey, Mickey grew this lettuce, you need to eat it, and then boom, your kids will eat their vegetables. You're welcome. Can you tell I'm not a parent? Now, our next item on the list is to never stroll past the pavilions. Every single pavilion in the World Showcase has so many details and so many things to learn about the country itself. So we encourage you, highly recommend to go check out the pavilions, find something new, find a new hidden detail, maybe find a new favorite snack, new favorite merchandise item. So let's go explore Norway. Of course, Norway is home to Frozen Ever After, which is a very popular attraction here in Epcot, but today I want to show you something else. So over here, there is an exhibit. Here at the Stave Church Gallery, you can delve into the myths, gods, and legends of the real Vikings at this exhibit of Norwegian artifacts. Fun fact about Norway that I love, that grass up there on the roof is real, and they have to have the horticulture team trim that grass on the roof just like they do any other kind of landscaping. So fun facts with Fry, that's real grass. There are so many fun things to explore, and it's just a great way to get out of the sun for a little bit, get in some AC, learn something new about a country that you didn't know before. So I encourage you to go check out the pavilions. There's something in every single one. And our next never do is to never pick your Epcot day at random. Epcot is the one park that gets much busier in the evenings and on the weekends because of locals going to the festivals and eating some food. Epcot has 4 different festivals throughout the year. You've got the Festival of the Arts, which is centered around all of the different arts like painting and drawing and sculptures and arts of that nature. You've got Flower and Garden Festival, which is beautiful, has great topiaries, which is all about pretty flowers and gardens. And then you've got the Food and Wine Festival in the early summer, which is the biggest festival of the year with all different kinds of food booths centered on food and drinking. And then at the end of the year, you've got the Festival of the Holidays, which celebrates how all the different countries celebrate the holidays. If the festivals are important to you, you don't want to go when one isn't going on. There's about 2 to 3 weeks throughout the year where there is no Epcot festival. It's mainly in the summer. If you're wanting to head to a festival, just make sure, check the calendar, make sure it's not during that weird period where there's not a festival going on in Epcot. Now, opening days of the festivals can be super, super fun. It's one of our favorite times to come to an Epcot festival because everyone is excited, it's all new, and you want to try all the food. So if you want to check out all there is that Food and Wine has to offer, we tried every single booth, did all of the entertainment, all of the activities, all the merch, and more. So go check out that video already up on our channel. Plus, this is just a shout out to all of our viewers who watch us at home. A lot of people have started to realize that they like to go to Epcot on the opening day of a festival because they know we're all going to be here because we're all here to cover the festival. So Food and Wine was a super fun day because everywhere we went, people came up to us, said hi, we got to talk to you for a little bit. So just a shout out to our amazing viewers at home, Instagram followers, all of that. If you watch us at home and you're here in the parks and you see one of us, please stop us and say hi. We love talking to you, getting to know you, just love talking to you, the people who actually watch our videos. That's super cool, super fun. It will never get old. So if you ever see any of us in the parks, please stop us and say hello. We are never too busy to say hi. All right, next up, we've made it over to Italy because our next item on the list is to never assume you're seeing everything in a World Showcase pavilion at first glance. The World Showcase is the back half of Epcot where you can travel the world to 11 different countries, check out the food, check out the culture, check out likes and dislikes, and it's a really fun way to spend the day. A lot of people do things like drinking around the world or eating around the world or all of different types of entertainment and things that they like to do from that country. So it's an amazing way to learn something new, but also there's so many hidden details that you will not find unless you go all the way into each World Showcase pavilion and explore. Specifically, there are more exhibits in a lot of the different countries. Most of the time they're inside, so they're inside AC. You can go explore, learn something new about a culture that you might not know about. And a lot of these exhibits have like actual artifacts from them, and it's a really cool thing to read about and learn about. I was the kid when I was younger, going to museums. I like to read every single plaque, so I never liked going on field trips with other kids because they just run through the museum, and I want to read everything. So World Showcase is the best way to do that. There's things in every single country, so I encourage you, next time you're in Epcot, learn something new. Now, since we are in Italy, I'm going to show you one of my favorite things here in this pavilion, and it's over here to the left, inside the store. All the stores in here will also have specific merchandise themed to that country. So here in Italy, there's a bunch of Minnie Mouse merchandise, which I absolutely love. They've got nice purses in here, lots of perfume here in Italy, but we're gonna go to the very back to show you something very unique that you will only find in this pavilion. Back here in Italy, they do have a beautiful mask shop where you can buy handcrafted masks. Hello! Oh my goodness. There's so many to choose from, and actually you can come back here and make your own. I do love going into the mask shop and looking at it. It's a very unique souvenir, which we will get to more unique souvenirs in a second, but the cast member told me every single one of those masks in there are handmade in Italy, in Venice specifically, and then they're brought over here. So that's just another cool thing about Epcot. You can learn more about every single country, have a feel of the country, and it feels like I'm in Italy. Oh my goodness, look who it is. Hi!
What are you doing over here?
I am telling people that you can never just assume that you're seeing the whole entire country from the front. You gotta go explore.
Oh, that's the best part about the countries. You're pretty good at this.
Oh, thanks. I'd like to think so.
You did a good job. Thanks.
Next up, we're in America because the next thing you should never do is never miss live entertainment in Epcot. There are so many amazing live entertainment options throughout Epcot in general, but specifically the World Showcase. You've got the Mime in Italy, you've got the Janitors up in the front of Epcot, you've got the Drummers in Japan, you've got so many different things to check out, the band in Canada. Really just walking around the world, there's so many different options for live entertainment, and as Sage always says, live entertainment is important. I do also love live entertainment so much. I think it's what makes Disney special, and I'm about to show you my absolute favorite thing in all of Epcot, and it's actually inside the America Pavilion. So let's go. Time ain't no time to stay. Outdoors is food, so shine. with the amazing Voices of Liberty. They are an a cappella group, some of the most talented singers I have ever had the pleasure of watching and listening to. It is my absolute number one must-do when I come to Epcot on a personal day. I absolutely love them. I will come see them every single time. They are amazing. More people need to go see it. It's beautiful. Another thing to note on live entertainment is that with each Epcot festival, there is a concert series with that festival, and they're all totally free. For the festival concert series, if it's a popular artist and someone you really, really want to see, just make sure you check the time and the date and get here early for a good spot, because sometimes these shows do fill up. Now, luckily, even if the show fills up, you can still stand by and watch it, but if you really want a good seat, then sometimes you might need to come out early and stake a spot. The next never do, we've made it over to Japan, because in Epcot you should never buy souvenirs you can get anywhere else in Disney World. Epcot is the most unique park in my opinion in many ways. You've got all the countries that you can explore, you have different food that you can eat and try new things, but also you can get unique souvenirs that you can't get anywhere else. The best store to showcase this is Mitsukoshi, which is in the Japan Pavilion. This is basically like a department store. Mitsukoshi was the first department store ever in Japan. It's modeled after that one. And they even have a bunch of different intellectual properties that you wouldn't expect to find in a Disney store. So let's check them out. Animal Crossing socks that I might have to buy. Oh my gosh, I need him. Oh my goodness, this is cute. Mario Kart red shell. I might have to buy one and just throw it at Quincy and see what happens. Pokemon merchandise. Cup of noodles bag. Oh my goodness. That is cute. Also something unique to Japan, you can pick out your own pearl, and that's a super fun experience. Spirited Away merchandise, cute little notebook, Spirited Away Tupperware, and Spirited Away reusable utensils. There's lots of different beautiful fans to choose from. And then as you keep going back further into the store, you are going to find the room with all the different kimonos. They're very authentic, very expensive, beautiful pieces of clothing. And then also in the very back, there's almost like a general store kind of situation happening where you can buy packaged snacks, Japanese swords. If you ever need some noodles, come back over here and get yourself a cup of noodles. They also have a vending machine full of drinks, and they've got a whole Pocky section, so tons of flavors of Pocky and mochi. Japan is the best example of finding unique souvenirs, but there are stores like that in every single country. So I encourage you to look, just like we saw the masks in Italy. Go check out the stores, and what I like to do with my friends is maybe you set out on a mission and try to find the most unique souvenir in each country, and it can turn into a little game. Now our next never do, I might get in trouble with Miss Quincy for this, but the next never do is to actually never take the boat.
What?
Let me explain. Now there is boats that do depart from both sides of the World Showcase Lagoon, one in Morocco and one over by the entrance of the World Showcase. And you know, in certain circumstances they can be really great and handy, but really only if you are standing right at the boat dock when a boat comes up. Unless you really, really love boats, there is a chance you could be waiting a long time for the boat to arrive. It can eat up kind of a big chunk of your day. The boats do depart every 15 minutes. Sometimes on certain days there's one boat at each station, always, but on today, like I'm looking at it right now, there's only one boat and it's over on the other side of the lagoon, so it will take a few minutes for it to get over here. So I'm not really saying never take the boat, but it might be faster for you to just walk around World Showcase. So, you know, if you love boats like Quincy, ride the boat, do what you want to do. But if you're trying to maximize your time in Epcot, don't wait too long for a boat to come when you could just walk across the lagoon. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, Quincy. We love boats, okay? Don't get too mad. And very important for people who get a little motion sick, never forget Dramamine for your day in Epcot. Surprisingly, Epcot does have quite a few attractions that do often cause motion sickness, specifically to a lot of people on our team, and even myself. I'm not really that type to get motion sickness on most attractions, but there are some here in Epcot that tend to do that to me. First up, there's the newer ride, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which is a roller coaster that does spin around, so that does tend to cause motion sickness. And fun fact, Cosmic Rewind is the only place with open lid trash cans due to motion sickness when people get off the attraction. That is a really fun roller coaster. I highly recommend you try it, even if you're a little nervous. Just know that it could cause motion sickness, but I feel like everyone should ride that attraction at least once. But I will say that Quincy, who is our girl who is most likely to get motion sick on a ride, does not get sick from Cosmic Rewind. So just because you might get motion sickness on a lot of other attractions doesn't necessarily mean you will, just to be prepared. Another one on the list is Remy's Ratatouille Adventure here in the France Pavilion. This is another attraction that people do tend to get motion sick on. It does have that 3D element and you are spinning around in a trackless vehicle. So this is another one that can cause motion sickness as well. And the last attraction in Epcot that does tend to get motion sickness, probably the most, is Mission Space. This is an attraction that simulates going to Mars, and honestly, it was created with the help of NASA astronauts, and they all said that this is the closest anyone can ever get to actual astronaut training. And fun fact, is the only attraction in Disney World to have doggy bags with you in the seat. If you ever do need some kind of medicine like Dramamine or even Advil, Tylenol, always check the first aid centers. There's one in every single park. You can get single doses of medicine or anything like that. They will give it to you for free. So if you do end up needing something, needing some help, go check out first aid. Now we've made it to Canada. I kind of have mixed feelings about this one, but it is to never get regular popcorn in Epcot. Okay, I'm just kidding. I mean, you can get regular popcorn if you want to. You spend your money how you want on your vacation. I love Disney popcorn. In fact, it has been many times my meal. Girl dinner, if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Theme park dinner. Love popcorn. But Epcot has some pretty unique popcorn offerings. We're in Canada right now for the maple popcorn, but you can also get caramel popcorn over in Germany. And let me tell you, when that caramel popcorn, oh, it's wonderful. But the maple popcorn, also great. And you can get it in a refill bucket. And since I'm already here, might as well eat some, right? I mean, I'm sure you want a full review, so I'm gonna have to eat it for you. All right, we got some maple popcorn, so let's try it. Very good, very sweet, almost like a kettle corn, kind of. You're not allowed to eat this.
What'd you do while I was gone? No, go ahead. You walk the other way, it's all right.
I know, she can't eat it, she'll get sick.
Oh, what? Don't do that.
Just one.
No.
It's for your own good.
She's gonna get sick.
It'll make your tummy hurt. It tastes good though.
I mean, that's a pretty good review in and of itself.
This popcorn will make my stomach hurt and maybe me throw up. I want to eat it anyway.
Wow, I'd love a bucket of that.
Okay, don't let me have any more.
I'll see you later. All right, bye. And our next never do in Epcot is to never. Just find me later. Okay. Is to never forget about the shortcuts. Okay. There are a couple shortcuts in Epcot. Epcot is a really big park, and people forget about it. But there are shortcuts, and I'm going to show you one right now, and I really need it because it's raining. So let's head that way. Also, I'm adding another one to the list that isn't really on the shot list, and that's never forget your rain gear in the summer months, which I have clearly, once again, forgotten my rain gear in the summer months. So, as I always say, do as I say, not as I do. This is one of those times. Right next to Mexico, if you are coming into the World Showcase from the front or trying to leave, there is a shortcut that you can use through the Odyssey building, which is where you can also find first aid and baby care center and some restrooms. But the Odyssey right now is an extra festival booth, but instead of walking the long way, you can walk a little bit shorter of a route and head inside for some AC whenever it's hot and sunny. Right now it's gonna be a little chilly. So now we could take a second to gather ourselves, dry off a little bit if we needed to, and instead of walking out in the rain more, we're gonna cut across through the Odyssey. You can also do this with merchandise locations, so Connections Eatery, Connections Cafe, in front of the park. Walk through those stores as a shortcut instead of around. So I do this all the time. I do it in every park actually, specifically the merchandise shops. Always shortcuts. Take the shortcut. Also another shortcut could be the boat if you wanted to. If the boat is pulling up as soon as you get there, I recommend taking the boat. It will be faster, but sometimes the timing doesn't work out. And now we must go back out in the rain. Oh my goodness, it's raining harder. Okay. Next, never do is to never crisscross. Epcot is a much bigger park than people realize, and if you are running back and forth from World Showcase to the front, then back to World Showcase, then back to the front, you're gonna be walking so much more than you expected to, so just don't crisscross. I recommend you do all this stuff in the front of the park at the same time, and then head and do a lap around the World Showcase and split it up kind of half and half. Unless something happens like your Guardian virtual queue and you have to head over there, but you know, for the most part, split it up half and half. Also on that note, most of the World Showcase doesn't even open up until 11 anyways, so if you're here in the morning rope dropping, do the front of the park first before all the booths open, and then you can spend the afternoon walking around the World Showcase. But don't crisscross. All right, next up, I said this in the Never Do Magic Kingdom video, and I stand by it here as well. Never stand in line for Starbucks. Now, it's one thing if you have a really favorite Starbucks drink that you love to drink and want to have that magical feeling of walking around a Disney World park with Starbucks in your hand. But if you're looking just for a plain cup of coffee or even a nice vanilla latte or some drink like that, I highly recommend checking out the Joffrey's lines instead. They will be much, much shorter than the Starbucks lines. The AllEars team loves Joffrey's, and there's actually 4 different locations all around Epcot. So there are so many, you're always close to one, and they all have shorter waits than the Starbucks line. Plus, I always feel like I can get Starbucks anytime because I have it at home. I don't live in Florida, I live in Texas, so Joffrey's is like a special Disney treat to me. So anytime I'm here, I always grab Joffrey's instead of Starbucks. Next one is to never miss your Guardians virtual queue. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind is one of the newest rides here in Epcot. It is a roller coaster that actually turns around. The vehicle on the roller coaster turns around. It's super fun. It can cause a little bit of motion sickness, but for the most part, it's an amazing attraction and has different songs that you could possibly listen to, so the re-rideability is great. If you do want to try to ride this attraction for free without paying for it, you will have to get up early in the morning at 7 a.m. to join that virtual queue. If you happen to miss the 7 a.m. drop, you can try again at 1 p.m. You must be in Epcot for the 1 p.m. drop, but you have multiple chances to ride it, or you can pay for the individual lightning lane. Whether you do the virtual queue or the individual lightning lane, when your boarding group is ready, you will have an hour to ride the attraction. If you do not make it within that hour, you might not get to ride. So just pay attention to what you're doing around Epcot that day, and if your virtual queue gets called, head over to the ride, because trust me, you're going to want to ride it. It's currently my favorite ride in all of Disney World, so don't miss it. Now this next one is very appropriate for right now, because the next never do is to never get in line for Test Track when you see a storm rolling in. Test Track is an attraction here in Epcot where you design a virtual concept vehicle and then go for a high-octane spin at this attraction that's thrilling and creative. It is where you get to build your own car and basically test drive it to see how well it does in different categories. But the thing about this attraction is that at the end of the ride, you are in a vehicle and you're testing how fast it can go, and you are outside. So unfortunately, if a storm is rolling in, the attraction will go down for weather because it is too dangerous to ride the attraction. And on that same note, we've got another following never do that deals with Test Track, and that is to never wait in the wrong Test Track line. Test Track is a really popular attraction here, always has a really long wait. So if you are okay with splitting up your party, and if you're okay with riding alone, take full advantage of the single rider line. The single rider line is a separate line where you will be riding by yourself, split up from your party, but it is so much faster than the regular line, and honestly sometimes faster than the lightning lane. It should be noted, however, that if you do the single rider line, number one, you will be split up from your party, and number two, you don't necessarily get to create your own car. You can, but that's really not the point of single rider line if you're trying to get on the attraction super quickly. Every time I've done single rider, I honestly have not waited more than 10 minutes, and normally this attraction can get 70, 80 minute wait times. So single rider is definitely worth it if you're okay with splitting up your party. Next never do in Epcot is to never ride Mission Space without reading the full warnings. At Mission Space, you blast off on a thrilling simulated NASA-style mission to Mars or orbit the Earth on a more gentle ride through space. For this attraction, there are actually 2 separate lines. There's the orange mission and the green mission. The green mission is the easier one. The orange mission is the harder one. I mean easy and hard compared to motion sickness, talking about claustrophobia issues. So this ride does cause severe motion sickness. It is the only ride in Disney World to have doggy bags in the ride vehicles just in case you need them. I will be honest and say that I haven't ridden Orange Mission in a long time. I only do the Green Mission now because I can't do it anymore. It's a lot, and I normally don't get motion sick on any attraction. So just read the full warnings. If you do have a little bit of claustrophobia issues, I would recommend steering away from that attraction just because it is very closed encounter, and just overall it can be a lot for some people to handle. All right, we're getting to the end of our list here, and the next never do is to never ride attractions that will have wait times that will drop later in the day. There are multiple attractions here in Epcot, mostly located in the front of the park, that will have wait times that will drop later in the day. So we're talking about Journey into Imagination with Figment, we're talking The Seas with Nemo and Friends, Living with the Land, Mission Space, and Spaceship Earth. If you see super high wait times for these attractions, I would recommend you skip them and do them later in the day, because I promise they will go down. So don't waste your time waiting in line. Go eat some snacks, go find some fun merchandise around the World Showcase, and go do something else until the wait times drop later in the day.
If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe.
Now be sure to watch The Things You Should Never Do in Hollywood Studios up on the channel now.
Bye.
See you there.